Welcome back. The next task is about association rules. This function, this machine learning functions, looks for co-occurrence of items in collections. And we can use it, for example, to identify the relationship between the marital status of a customer and their lifetime value class they belong to. And we try to find out if there is any relationship between that, because we can find out the co-occurrence of married or divorced customers in certain lifetime value classes, like in the low customers class, or in very high customers class. And this way identify if there is maybe some relationship between those two attributes, between the marital status and the lifetime value class they belong to. I'm going to use a query this time, because you can synchronize the data from your database using a table. We're using all the columns in the table, like we have done it in all the previous tasks, or you can use a query to select just some of the columns, or to customize the data set you retrieve from your database. This time I need the customer ID to identify individual customers, individual records in my data set, marital status, and the lifetime value bin class column from my customers table. And then I'm going to print some summary, yes, 10 rows of my training data set. This is my training data set I'm going to use for the association rules. And now I am going to try to see how my data looks like. And I'm going to create a summary based on marital status and the classes, individual 4 classes I have in the LTV bin column, showing the number of customers which are in each one of those groups. For example, in the high class with marital status divorced, I have 2,233 customers. In the low class with the marital status divorced, I have 52 customers. And this is ordered by the marital status, a lifetime value bin class, and then for each one of those groups, I have the number of customers. And then married in high, I have more than 3,000 customers, and married in low, I have 69. So this is the summary I can create easily on my data, just to understand my data in my database, just to see, to visualize it a little bit. I can create maybe some charts, but for this time, just with a simple table, it is enough to understand. And now I can do a pivot. I can create a pivot table using the columns marital status and the 4 classes I have defined in my data, the 4 labels I'm using as the lifetime value classes. So I have also some customers which have not specified, or we don't know the marital status. They are in other. And here is the number of customers for each one of the classes of one of the labels in the other group. And then I have single, married, widowed, divorced. These are the marital statuses I'm going to use to identify if there is any relationship between the marital status and my customer size class. And I'm going to specify some settings for my association rules function. and you can specify settings in a collection like this, and then use those settings to create the association rules model. And now I'm going to fit the training data I just retrieved from my database, the train that data frame I retrieved at the beginning using that query, identifying the customers by the customer ID. This is the identification column, into my association rules model I just created with using those settings. So let me fit it with the training data, and let me see the details of the model now. Now I can see that the model is association rules model using the mining function association, and we can see here the settings of the model, the global statistics, and the attributes I'm using for this model. In this case, I have only two attributes from my data set, the LTV bin and marital status. And here are the item sets for the association rules and the rules. For example, we have the confidence, the support of each one of the rules in this output here and in the details. So, for example, let me see. There is a support of, so the biggest support is for the relationship between the LTV being high with, so this is the relationship between LTV being high and the marital status of divorced, married, and single, and again for medium. I have only two item sets which can be may have a relationship between them, but there is no relation basically in what I see here between the marital status and the LTV lifetime value class. For example, the only one which can be seen here is between the LTV being high and married. We can say there is a slightly support for this relationship between the high customers and them, and these customers being married. And again, for median customers being single, but the values are very low. And in this case, I cannot say this rule has, it is supported or it has importance at all in my data set. So for example, here I have the rules for these two item sets. For the first one, which is this one, the first two items, right? I have the rule. I have the rule ID number 1, and it specifies that marital status for married and LTV bin has a support of 21%, which is very, very low. And for this rule, the confidence has been identified as being 61%. So the system, it is confident at 61% that this rule actually exists, and it is supported, let's say, by 21% of the data we have in our data set in order to identify the association between married customers and their value, their lifetime value to be in the high class, in the high customer class. And these two rules basically with the continued here, because this is a table which it is split here, and then it continues here on this line, on the next line, have, let's say, very low support. The confidence is also very low. It's 61 and 43 for the rules, and it specifies that there may be a relationship between the married customers and them being in the high class. And also the second association we have found, which is even lower in support here. It has only 16% of the data set support, which is nothing. So there is no relationship. I can tell from this result here. It specifies that medium customers are single customers usually, you know. So here are the two rules, the first one and the second one. And they have very low support, 16%, and the confidence is also more or less. So we can use this to identify associations, but maybe in case of we have a huge support here, close to 1, and also the confidence has to be a very high confidence of that rule. And now I can change the settings, for example, and try to run it again to see if with different settings, my associations are different. And again, I have the results here, association rules. I have again, in this time I have 3 rules. One saying that high customers can be associated with marital status divorced. The second one specifying that high customers can be associated with the status, marital status married. And the third one saying that medium customers can be associated with the marital status single. And here are the rules sustaining this information. And we can see that also this time the support is very low. So I cannot say this has any, we can associate high customers with divorced or married and medium customers with being single. The support is very, very low. So here are the rules. These are the 2 rules for the first association with the support of 14%. These are the rules for the, so let's start from here. These are the rules for the second association with the support of 21%. And these are the rules for the third association, which also has a very low support. So this is how you can run it. But in this particular case, I cannot say there is any association between the marital status and the lifetime value class of the customer. So thank you very much.